Obviously, I am a writer by trade. However, taking my written content out of that form and putting it into YouTube, that has without a doubt been vital to my business and its growth. I get to share stories and level with you at the same time that I'm hopefully sharing some valuable copywriting hacks and tips and tricks. But while I'm here, I also get to kind of slide in and promote my paid offers, the things that keep the lights on around here. And I'm building authority that then turns around and helps me on the publicity and PR front. So let's talk about how I do all of this because, like I said, I'm a writer. My craft doesn't naturally lend itself to a visual medium like video, and I am a massive introvert. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to promote your offers on YouTube. You could probably also kind of flip this and think about it as any kind of long form outlet you may have. So podcast people, this is YouTube. All right, let's go. Hello, if we've not yet met, my name is Ashlyn Carter. I'm a conversion copywriter and brand and launch strategist for creatives. And yes, mostly I like talking about how to help you make more money with your words. But the other week I did a video talking about my heart for public relations. That's where I started right out of journalism school. I love PR, I love media relations, and I hope that you can watch that video and kind of kick yourself in the booty a little bit to go out there and pitch yourself for opportunities. That and what I'm talking about today falls into the 5 different categories of traffic, and traffic is a fancy way to say getting eyeballs on what you do. Those categories are going to be direct, so grassroots, just telling someone, hey, here's my website, somebody typing it in, social, search, relationship, and paid. So hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it because I'm going to be talking about paid traffic in a 2-part video series coming up, so don't miss that. And while you're down there, click the like button if you've ever wondered, do I have to have social media to have my business? I hear that all the time and I get it. I really get it. But the thing is, you need eyeballs on your business, no matter what. It's got to fall into one of those buckets. And social media is a great way to get the word out about what you do. It is so scalable. And what I've liked about YouTube is that it very easily helps me check off both the social one and the search. But let me back up a little bit. I told you, first of all, I wanted to tell you my story as an unlikely YouTuber. Here's how it goes. I'd taken on the launch copy project for a client, and as a conversion copywriter doing my due diligence, I was deep in the depths of research. Any copy project is going to be, like the iceberg analogy, way more research and just swimming and digging than it is the actually part that people see. I remember where I was, I had my headphones on and I was listening to, we always ask our copywriting clients to give us their best video interviews, their best podcast interviews. When I was listening to this client, I'll say her name in a minute, listening to her explain why video. And the more she talked and then the more I took those data points that she gave and laced them into the conversion copy for her sales page, I sold myself. Trina Little is my YouTube strategist now, but her Video Strategy Academy page, that's what the product is now. But the more I researched, I realized the power in YouTube specifically from a search engine standpoint. That alone pretty much sold me. Because if you're around here, you know I adore the idea of sustainable marketing. I loved the concept that I could take my blogs and figure out how to package that into a video and then disseminate that on a multitude of platforms. Well, fast forward, so I told you I bought the product, I ended up doing my own channel, doing all the research, doing all the editing, everything by myself for a while, and then now I outsource to that team. And they're fabulous, love you guys. But 2 takeaways from this. Number 1, this is so important. Write copy that sells you. You need to be the prime skeptic when you're writing your copy. So if there's holes to be poked in any copy, sales page, homepage, about page, emails, sales funnels, poke holes in it. If there is an elephant in the room when you're writing your copy, you better address that. It may be where it falls in the sales page actual messaging hierarchy that changes up, but you better believe it. If there is something to be addressed, then address it. Sell yourself when you're writing copy. I did that and it cost me money, but it's fine. Number 2 takeaway from this, don't let your muscles atrophy either because of fear or because of snobbery, which I've also done. I've definitely inadvertently at times thought like that platform is just not for me. And while sometimes that is true and your time is finite, there are also moments in business where you have to realize if the audience is there and we're not trying to figure out how to get out there and serve them, and there's that phrase like meet them where they are, then maybe we're doing them a disservice and we need to figure that out. That was kind of the music I had to face when I had to realize I love the format of writing, but there's only so far that can go, and at some point I need to either turn the camera on or turn the audio on. Again, instead of that, I picked video. I had to get over it. I had to do it scared. If you want to see evidence, go back and look at my really old, actually don't but I have really old YouTube videos that are awful. But it takes that over and over again. You have to hit publish on those messy first drafts and get them out of the way, and then over time, like anything, it develops. Before I go into the behind the scenes process, I want to tell you 4 kind of seal the deal things that made me pick YouTube over another platform. But again, pick the platform that's best for you. My goal in this video is to push you to consider growing traffic in an area that you may be a little bit afraid to do. Number 1, it helped with visibility from a PR standpoint. I remember exactly where I was at a copywriting workshop, and one of the workshop leaders looked at me and said, "Could you talk a little bit about starting your YouTube channel? It's been a great authority builder for your brand." I thought, that channel you think is an authority builder? Because at this point, I still felt totally fish out of water on camera. But little by little, it helped. Reason number 2, SEO, like I said. Number 3, it's helped me with sizzle reels. One time I was pitching myself for a creative live speaking opportunity, pitched it, landed it. It was an incredible experience. But to pitch that, I needed to submit a sizzle reel, which is basically a spliced little segment of me speaking both at events, but then I also snapped in, is that a word? Dropped in different videos as well. I was able to show I knew what I'm talking about. And number 4 is the naturally easy segues, both showing off my client work that we have going on, student examples. I can also spotlight and just name drop our products all the time. But that brings me to the next step. I want to talk to you about behind the scenes, soup to nuts, what it takes to get one of these out, because a lot goes into this process. My videos and content always start off now with the intersection of what YouTube is showing and promoting and what will help us rank on YouTube. It's SEO. So the team does that and brings that in. But my brain is always looking at what have people said they need from us, both in the annual survey and then any emails that send into hello@ashlynwrites and Kinsey grabs them. I'm always trying to pay attention to what have people said they need from us, and honestly, what do we have coming down the pipeline? What launches are coming up? If you have Prime to launch, you know how I start thinking about that in advance. So I'm taking all this and I'm looking at their ideas, and I kind of start a mix and a match game. It's pretty messy, but it's fun, at least to me. And once we have locked in on the ideas, the next piece is scripting. I always use my content pillar script template. It is inside the copy bar shop if you want to grab it. I've also done a video behind the scenes of this template. I'll link it down below so you can pop it up in another tab and watch it after this video. But that template is where everything begins, because the first thing I'm doing is brain dumping data ideas, story ideas, things and links I want to mention, but I'm also taking time to consider, what do I want people to walk away from this knowing, thinking, doing? What is kind of the sassy hot take I have on it all? I script it and then I step away for at minimum 24 hours. The next step in the workflow, by the way, we do have all of this in an Asana workflow. I'll try to show a little bit of that over the side. I shower and get dressed. YouTube is probably one of those mediums where you should shower. And I film. I am not very good at batch filming. I can get sometimes 2 done at a time. I did 12 before my last maternity leave, and then I did 7 again in the fall on a workcation. But I'm a mom of 2 kids. It's really hard for me to batch more than maybe 2 or 3 at a time. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes for every episode to film. I also have the script up. It's right there over on the side. I'm gonna say as much as I can remember before I pause and I look at the next line. That helps us in the editing process, which is next. So after I'm done, I load everything in, I drop it in the Google Drive. I am very anal, surprise, surprise, about our organization system. And once that's in, I check off in Asana and I let the team know that it is ready to be edited. I used to do my own editing. It has been incredible to outsource this. Annabelle, mwah, you're amazing. She and Aaron let me know when it's ready. They usually knock it out of the park on their first draft. Again, this has taken a long time to get to this point. Then we schedule it, get that description box ready to go and everything. Now we started using UTM so we can track where traffic comes from a little bit better. That's new for this year. We haven't done that in the past. And after all that's done, then I blogitize the script. I've outsourced this in the past. I kind of want to bring it back under my wing again, but that's where I started. I started blogging in 2009. It's always hard to let go of the things that you've always done. I've done a whole long episode on SEO and my thoughts on that. And then the last piece of the puzzle is shooting it out via the email newsletter. The behind the scenes tea on this, I typically don't even start writing the newsletter until I see the video package back and watch it in full, because it's very hard for me to look at any of my content and then turn around and write about it. I have to see it from a different perspective. And so when I see a video all pulled together and I just watch that, then I'm ready to write. However, every week with the newsletter, I usually and I know what episode is coming out that week, so about, 6 days in advance, I start thinking, what could the hook of this be? And so I'm paying attention and kind of story banking along the way. Anything that came up that I think, oh my gosh, that would be such a funny hook or angle to glide right into what I want to talk about here. So yeah, I don't batch newsletters at all. I write them the day before they go out. Okay, you've heard my unlikely journey into anything that is not writing and how YouTube's helped me from a traffic and a PR standpoint. You've also heard about my process. So I'm going to give you a few quick tips on how you can make your content more sustainable, because taking that long form package, whether it's audio or a video package, and making it sustainable is only gonna work if that content is good, thick, juicy, and very well researched, which is why I constantly use that content pillar script. But some ideas here. Number one, I think it helps to have somebody on the outside look and tell you their aha moments in your video, in your audio. If it takes paying someone on your team for 15 minutes every single week to go through and say, here are my 3 biggest takeaways, that is instant fodder for social media or anything else. Number 2, always try, this is something I'm challenging myself to do, always try to make some sort of infographic for your post if it lends itself to that, because then this can turn around and be repurposed on other outlets. Remember those buckets of traffic, baby. Numbers 3 and 4, I talk about this a lot inside Prime to Launch, but taking that piece of content and splintering it out with multiple pins and multiple Facebook and social media posts, that's important. My last and probably biggest tip into figuring out how to make your content sustainable is to test a teaching idea. Let me explain. If you have a hypothesis that you've tested on your clients and you've started to see it work, and you think, this may be something that has legs, I like this. The next step for me is to then convert that process or teaching thing into a video or a blog post, or like throw it out and see if the spaghetti sticks to the wall with a greater audience. I think it's easier to do it with free content before you package it up and put it all so pretty into your paid content. Obviously it's going to be paid, so it's going to be much longer, but I can see if it's even sticky at all if I kind of test it in free content. The big aha with this last piece is a lot of times you're just a little bit too close to your content to see how it can be pulled out and disseminated. You're just too close to your genius sometimes. So don't be afraid to use other people, and don't be afraid to use AI tools. I talked about those in a recent video. Those can be helpful as well. Okay, with so much content consumed these days being video, it makes sense that you would want to take advantage of that to build both your traffic and your authority that you can then turn around and use for publicity and PR. While you're here, look down below. I have both a link to that content pillar script that I have in the shop, a little discount code for you as well. And my friend Selena has an incredible 2022 publicity calendar that has been so great for helping me think of epic story ideas. So if you're looking at getting more eyeballs on your business this year, don't miss out on that either. All right, that does it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.